In lesson 16, we talk about transitioning from our knowledge of ratios over to what a rate is. And a ratio is just a comparison of two numbers. A rate is a comparison of two numbers written in a different way. So, for when we talked about ratios, if I said the ratio of miles traveled to time in hours was 100 to 2, I would say that means that I traveled 100 miles in 2 hours. So a rate would be expressing those two different things in a new way. So if we're talking about miles and talking about hours, a rate that was talking about miles and hours would be expressed in miles per hour. And most of the time when we are talking about rates, we will be using the word per. So you should hear miles per hour, meters per second, feet per minute, things like that. Now those are all distance and speed, but you could have papers per minute or, buckets filled per minute, things like that. Non-traditional rates. Miles per hour is a rate that we hear a lot though. And to compute a rate, you take the ratio and you write it like a fraction. Okay, that can be a rate, but normally when we write a rate, we like to see a unit rate. And a unit rate means that we get the denominator to be equal to 1. So basically all you do is divide. You divide the numerator by the denominator. So 100 divided by 2 is 50. Or we could use the technique of reducing the fraction by 2. Okay, so I get a unit rate of 50 to 1. So 50 miles in 1 hour. Okay, 50 miles per hour. And that is the basic of this whole lesson. To go from ratio to rate, we just divide and we find the value of the ratio. I wanted to take a second and show you a very helpful resource which we've watched in class, but in case you don't know how to get to it, you can watch it again to refresh your memory. Go to mathsnacks.com, mathsnacks.com. And when you get here, you'll see this will be the home page. And there's a lot of different neat things on here that games you can play. There right now is no rate game, but there are some various videos that are what I was going to look at. So if you go down here to Rating the Math Cat, you can watch it in English here, Spanish there, and we click, there's other things down below. But Rating the Math Cat is a story about a cat that's great with rates. So if you like to watch it, it's going to be a great resource to help you understand what a rate is. We're also going to talk about finding various associated rates and rates that will be written like this, miles per hour. And he's a cat because he says per.